either a point and the slope or 2 points. Point-slope form is the easiest form to use. I mean, it says to use point-slope form here. Whoops, let's scroll down here. It says to use point-slope form here, but that is the easiest thing to do. You can use the other ones. I'm going to show you how to do it here with point-slope form really quickly. But you can use something else if you have an alternate solution here. If you're trying to do point-slope form for that, start with the point-slope form. Y minus y1 equals mx minus x1, and then just sub in the things that you know. You know the slope is a little fast on the highlighting there. That's the slope, so put that in. 5/8. And x, you just leave as x because that's the variable. Whoops. That's the variable in this situation. You want x1 is minus 27. Right, that's this. Subbing this thing in here. And then the y value is that. So put it in there for that, right? What does that give you? Y minus 64. That's the equation. You can simplify it if you want. Okay, if you simplify that, you get y minus 64 equals 5/8 x minus, or plus, right? Minus negative 27 is plus 27. That's what it is in point-slope form. If you really wanted to, you could put it in slope-intercept form if you multiplied this out, but that is not necessary here. Second one here passes through 5, 2, and 7, 4. Negative 7, negative 4. Start again with that point-slope form. You need the slope, though. You don't have the slope here. X minus x1. You need the slope. So I'm going to figure out the slope over here, what m is. Slope is subtract the two numbers, right? That slope formula is, however you do this, whichever way works for you. If you want to use this formula, you can. Or you can just do it by looking at the differences. Right? If you're using the formula, it's subbing the numbers in and saying, subtract the y values. Negative 4 minus 2. If you're doing it that way, negative 4 minus 2 over negative 7 minus 5. Negative 7 minus 5, you get negative 6, negative 12, which is 1 over 2, or 0.5 if you divide that. Either way is fine. You can put 1/2 in there, or 0.5. The other way you can do the slope is just by looking at the numbers. If you're looking at the numbers, it's just saying, I'm going either direction, whichever way you want to go. If you go from 2 down to negative 4, and you go from 5 down to negative 7, okay, look at the two changes here. Or you could go the other way, right? This is up 6, and this is up 12, right? If they both go up, you're going from here up to there. Up, up. It's going to be a positive slope. It's 6 over 12, right? Whether you have negative 6 over 12, positive 6 over 12, you get the same thing. And then just sub one of the points in. Why don't we use the easier one so they're all pluses? x1, you can put negative 7, so this is like plus 7. And y1 can be, I'm using this point, right? y1 can be negative 4, minus negative 4 is like plus 4. Okay, the other way you could have written it is using the other point. You could have gone y minus 2 equals 1/2 x minus 5. Either one of those is the right equation. Okay, either one of those works. Doesn't matter which point you use. Either one of them's fine. This part here, now that every time I split it like this, the numbers change. They're all question 1s. Look at that. Question 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. If you're converting that equation, if you're converting one of those equations, let's take this one here, okay? If I'm converting that one to slope-intercept form, first step is to multiply out. Well, you can do it either way. You can get rid of the fractions first, or you can expand this first. If you don't happen to want to go 1/2 times x and 1/2 times 7, get rid of the fractions first. I can times this whole side by 2. This already has brackets. Do I need to multiply each of these things by 2? Do I need to put a times 2 in here and a times 2 in there? If there's already brackets here, I can just put a 2 in front and that's enough. Okay? So if you times both sides by 2, that's going to cancel out. You're just going to have x plus 7. This is 2y plus 8. 2y x plus 7 minus 8. Move this over. I'm doing something I have to undo here again because I times by 2. I was thinking I was putting it in general form. I'm not putting it in general form. I'm putting it in slope-intercept form, so I'm doing something that I didn't need to do, but that's okay. Now, how do I get this by itself? Divide by 2. Divide each of these by 2. Maybe you want to combine those together first before you divide it by 2. Plus 7 minus 8. Plus 7 minus 8 is minus 1, right? X minus 1, let's just leave it like that and then divide by 2. So it's easier to combine that together first. Divide by 2, divide by 2. If you're writing this out, y equals, you can go x divided by 2 or a half x minus a half. That's the equation. I probably shouldn't have times by 2 first because I just had to divide by 2 in the end. Let's do the other one here just to confirm that it's the same. This one's going to be the same if you start with that. If you start with y minus 2 equals a half x minus 5. If you multiply this out, think about what you get here. You get a half x. What's a half times 5? Half times 5. If you know it's 2.5, you can put that. If you don't know what it is, a half times 5 is just 5 halves, right? You can just go 1 times 5 divided by 2. And if you have this here, I'm fine if you use decimals too, right? You could say that this is 0.5x minus 2.5. That'd be fine as well, right? Either way you're doing this, you want to move that to the other side. Y equals 0.5x minus 2.5 plus 2. 0.5x is going to be minus 0.5. Or if you did it with fractions, that's fine too. If you had fractions, you'd have a half x minus a half. You get the same answer regardless of how you do it. Even though the point slope, there's two different point slope forms you can have, right? Two different point slope forms, but they end up with the same thing here. Okay, these end up being the same, this and this. So you need to get going on finishing some stuff here. We started 7.2 and 7.3, past 3 classes, but you haven't had class time or much class time to work on them. You have a pretty good solid chunk of 45 minutes right now that you could at least knock off one of those sections, I think. Next week we're going to have to start looking at finishing off this section, or sorry, finishing off this chapter. Let's turn all the calendar off except